Episode number 223.
This happens all the time. It's happened since the Great Depression. And this is not a recession that we are in right now. People that think this is a recession are completely wrong. This is a depression, and it will last for years for a lot of people.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. Folks, I am beyond fired up today, and I'm inspired by someone that has traveled to literally 196 countries, folks. We are bringing you our featured guest, James Asquith. James, are you ready to be real?
I am so ready right now, Travis. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Let's do this, brother. Let's do this. James, if you guys didn't know already, is the founder and CEO of Holiday Swap. And we'll talk about the business because obviously there's a lot of things going on with the business. But then he, folks, is what broke the world's record, folks, the Guinness World Record at 24 years old for traveling to 196 countries, folks, around the world. And he also has a book that you can get on Amazon. If you guys everyone's buying shit on Amazon right now, obviously. So Breaking Borders, folks, where you can maybe hear about his journey. And then one of my most favorite things is your Instagram, man, because you've kind of taking that and be able to show your story. And obviously now you have a huge following because people love seeing cool shit and cool photos and things around the world. And it's just a blessing to have you on the show today, my man. So first off, like I asked,
thank you so much.
How's your day going, man? I know you're sheltered in place over there in Dubai.
Yeah, my day's pretty good. It's hot every damn day right now. It's about 105 degrees. Loving it. It's a strange place to be, Dubai, right now. It's gone from probably the world's strictest lockdown.
Got you.
You had to get a permit to go outside. You had to. If you went to a grocery store, you could only go once every 5 days to a grocery store. And you had to get a permit to leave the house. You couldn't go outside. You couldn't exercise. Definitely one of the strictest lockdowns. And it's just kind of overnight. It's changed. 2 days ago, they've removed the lockdown. Bars have just opened. I was down at a beach bar earlier having some sundowners. It's a strange situation, but it's gone from one of the strictest to probably one of the most laid back. So people are kind of loving life right here now.
Loving life. I saw on your Instagram, on your stories, you were cheersing your buddies and having a few drinks. And
yeah.
Take me to the bar, baby, because I need to have a couple cocktails and see that beautiful views you get in Dubai. You have beautiful views there.
Stunning over here. It's so stunning. So happy to be here. And I think things are going to kind of keep improving over the next couple of weeks, and things are starting to look pretty positive. I think for Europe and out here, probably over in the States, you've got, I guess, another 3, maybe 4 weeks of this. But
absolutely,
it's going to, and it has to improve. There's no other way.
Yes. And we know that life is going to change, folks. I mean, things about life, the social distancing, the shaking of hands, all sorts of different things are going to change. Concerts, EDM festivals, all this shit, but bottom line is we're going to get back to somewhat of a normal where you can go to a bar, cheers with your buddies, hang out, give your parents a hug. Shit, I haven't given my dad a hug in a few months. I'm like almost a month and a half. I try to do a social distance walk with him. He can't even hold his own granddaughter. It's just weird, and so it's just really weird. So, but that's good to hear, man, that things are slowly starting to change business. Obviously, folks, we're in an economy-based world. We need businesses to be open and people working and people traveling. So they got some money. But then that leads me into beyond just the story of your travels, which we'll get into. But tell us about the business, Holiday Swap. Tell us about what gave you this passion to start this business.
Well, look, I used to work in investment banking for 8 years, and it was super fun for a while. I don't know if you've watched the film The Big Short, but the guy that Ryan Gosling played was the guy that worked in my seat before I took over there. So he kind of did the job at my bank. So that was kind of similar to what I did in some ways. I used to be a trader and had a lot of fun doing that, but I never wanted to be kind of in the spotlight and say, hey, I've got a platform to be able to use. So I didn't set up Instagram or anything like that when I was traveling around the world. I was pretty happy, trading away and working in investment banking, and it was good money and it was good fun. But I've seen a lot of crises already in the banking space, and back to kind of 08 and 11, etc. And look, I always knew I wanted to do something in travel. There was a huge platform to be able to do so, but I didn't just want to do it for the wrong reason. And I think that, the problem you have now is you have too many people that want to have a been an entrepreneur in a startup. And let's be honest, right? 98% of them fail. And some people kind of have that idea that they want to run and push with. And it's the same. He briefly kind of touched on the book that I wrote. I never wrote the book to try and make money. And actually, it's usually free on Amazon. And when it's not free, it's as cheap as I can make it.
Right.
So it was I just wanted to write it and get my thoughts out there. And so I always kind of thought in the business space, I wanted to do something, but I didn't have the idea. And I flip-flopped through a bunch of ideas, and, kind of everyone's saying, hey, flights and travel better than anyone, have a luxury concierge service. And there's a ton of those out there. And it's very manual as well. And I wanted to do something that actually allowed everyone and all of us to genuinely save money and travel for cheaper. So I was in Romania in a place called Cluj-Napoca. Have you ever heard of it?
No. Sounds interesting.
No, neither had I.
Oh, my God.
I booked a fly there. I booked a 10 euro ticket with my buddy just because we thought the name sounded funny. We thought, whatever, weird place. We went there and it was amazing. It was the European Youth Capital of the Year. It's got 6, colleges there and a super young population. So I don't know how appropriate this is for the show, but, I remember meeting 3 women there that were 23 years old and they called themselves the Milks of Cluj, at 23 years old, because it was such a young population. So, I remember everyone was saying, and a lot of my buddies like to kind of annoy me in bars and in public, and they're like, hey, this guy's traveled to every country in the world. And, imagine how many times I've had the conversation, what's your favorite country?
Absolutely.
So my buddies just kind of like laughing and looking at me because obviously I'm going to, be passionate and always be kind of inspired about it.
Right.
And the common thing I'm always trying to be optimistic is, look, everyone can travel cheaply and save money. It's not out of your scope if you work hard, particularly in a country like the US where was the American dream, there still is.
Right.
But if you want to work hard, yeah, you can have nice things and go to nice places. And look, these people, I said, look, I came here for 10 euros. You can go to London. And so many people you meet in Eastern Europe say they want to go to London.
Right.
But it's expensive. And the same thing kept coming up. People kept saying it's not the flights, it's the accommodation. Airbnb prices are going up and up and up because people use it as a profitability platform.
Right.
Buying up second homes, it pushes up rent, pushes up property prices. And look, we wanted to make something that actually was a true sharing economy that allowed people to, almost all of us are lucky enough to have a place to live, whether we own it, whether we rent it, whatever it is.
Yes.
And that's your ticket to travel. So, the press called it the travel Tinder. You're not matching up dating, but you're matching up your place to stay. And it's kind of true sharing economy. So look, in this time, obviously international travel is completely done right now. But we're actually seeing probably record numbers of new users coming onto the platform.
Nice. That's awesome.
We always kind of turned around and I said, look, I wanted to make sure that everything I did as a job in banking was managing risk, I guess.
Right.
And I was kind of pretty confident for the last year or two that the market was going to go into a recession and it was going to be led by a consumer debt crisis. Now, I didn't expect it to be a shock from coronavirus, but essentially coronavirus is going to lead to a consumer debt crisis.
Right.
The average American's wealth is $7,500 and people live paycheck to paycheck. And if you want to work your ass off and go and have 3 jobs, you can have those nice things, but you turn off the economy of which 75% is a service and consumer economy, you're screwed. And that's why I'm positive. And we started the podcast at the top of it by saying, look, it has to get better because there simply isn't a choice. You cannot keep the economy turned off. Every decision that we and policymakers make has an impact and has an influence. And, hashtag stay at home, is it directly saving lives? Of course, you can't deny that it's a virus. I'm not a Scientologist. I'm not a Scientologist. I'm not a virologist rather, or a scientist. But, what I am is an economist, and science is funded by the economy. And you can't just turn it off and expect there not to be huge indirect consequences from that for the poorest in society who are lining up at food banks, etc. So long story short, it is essentially a case of, people now need to be turning around and saying, hey, I need to save money. And once lockdowns end, and you're already seeing it here in Dubai, people are heading out. People are like, there's going to be that couple of week period where you're going to go see your family. You're going to think, screw it, put it on the credit card. Right. Go to a bar, go to a restaurant. I want to see all my friends and all my family and have a good time because, hey, the world's a great place. But a few weeks later, that bell-shaped curve is going to dip when people have to turn around and say, holy shit, I need to get a job again. Because most people work in the service sector. And unfortunately, we've gone so far at this point that it's not coming back to where it was. You get the guys at JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs saying a V-shaped recovery, which is total bullshit in my opinion. It cannot and won't happen.
Long U-shape, probably. You're absolutely right, James. I mean, you're
Long
absolutely
U-shape. You're completely right. It's a long U-shape. And you look at stuff like, again, equity markets are not an indication of the economy. But if you look at the S&P, it's trading down 5% of where it was at the start of the year, which is just completely wrong because everything's been turned off. So look, I always wanted to create something in a platform that was there for not just a few people, but there for genuinely 7 billion people, right? And for us, you look at Indonesia and the Philippines, there's 500 million people across 2 countries.
Wow.
And they have low-cost airlines. And why do they want to go and use something like couch surfing and sleep on someone's couch when they can go and stay in someone's, the equivalent house to what they own? So I really we're seeing huge pickup at this point. And I guess one of the biggest weaknesses for our company before was that in this day and age, everyone wants stuff like that. We all want things done pretty quickly.
Right.
And you want to go on an Airbnb or a booking.com and say, cool, I want to go these dates, book, done, paid. Whereas it's kind of a longer runway with Holiday Swap where, again, your profile is your place. You have to match with people. You have to decide on dates. You could go stay with me in London. I could go stay with someone in Tokyo, for example. You could do like 3-way swaps, whatever it is, but it takes a little bit of organizing. If someone turns around and says to me, James, I want to go away next week, to New York. The point is you probably can't next week because you've got to find someone that also wants to come to where you are. And that doesn't have to be the person you stay with. But so that's kind of why this has been a pretty good time for us because our weakness in a normal market, which is that longer runway, is kind of a strength right now because now, people would be planning for trips in July, maybe August anyway, already on the platform. So it's kind of nice to have built something, I guess, where it's clear to see we're actually solving a problem and able to save people money now.
It's amazing, dude. I mean, it's truly a fascinating. Cheers to that. Cheers to that idea right there. I got water in this one because it's a little early here, but hey, cheers to that, mate. And honestly, it's true. It's one of those things, folks, is that the new world of these economies exists, and you are building almost like a social network where you're swapping out. You're almost building a community of people that want to travel and say, hey, I live in Fresno. You want to come to Yosemite? Okay, cool. I got a place here. Oh, you live in New York or you live in Miami. Okay. Let's build some friendships. When you want to come out here, I'll come out to Miami that day, that week. And you're swapping out your residences, your place.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just the demand side as well, right? You're going to have tons of people maybe in Europe that would look at, hey, I want to go to New York or to Miami. But then it's on the supply side, right? If someone's got a really nice pad over in Wisconsin or Minnesota, and they come and match up with you, you're like, well, maybe some Europeans might be like, where the hell is Wisconsin?
Absolutely.
And you look at it and it's stunning over there, obviously. So it kind of works, as you say, on the social network side of opening up people's eyes to other places as well. Because again, you look at the Mexico example. In Mexico, everyone's going to say Cancun, Tulum, Cabo, Mexico City, the places where everyone goes. But what about something like Puebla, which is 60 kilometers from Mexico City, and it has amazing history, amazing restaurants, and it basically is Mexico City, but just outside. And so by seeing that, you're going to kind of discover a lot of new places, which might not be specifically on the tourist map because there aren't hotels there, etc. But it's an exciting kind of prospect, and I think the next couple of years are going to be really powerful for us. And it's nice to have got to a point where even in this environment, we've actually over the last couple of weeks hired a couple of people.
Dude, I
haven't had to make any layoffs. So
thank God for that, brother. Thank God, dude. And that's a blessing to create a business that it's a working business. You're an essential business. Although people aren't maybe doing the international traveling, they're probably doing more domestic traveling. And like you said, even if they are doing international, maybe they're planning it further out, because it's not just a quick runway.
Sure, exactly.
And people kind of need something fun to do right now, So it's kind of fun. You go find out this kind of mystery of where am I going to travel, and it's not your traditional means. So I think that's kind of another big piece to this right now. People are willing to do these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I don't think that flight prices are coming down. You've got this school of thinking of people thinking, oh, it's going to be so cheap. There's going to be these amazing fares afterwards, which is bullshit, in my opinion. Look, even Alaska, right? Alaska have blocked out their middle seats through the end of 2020 already.
Right.
A couple of airlines in Europe are doing the same thing.
Yep.
And quite frankly, not only is the supply not going to be there, but the demand's not going to be there as well. Airlines routes will consolidate, and you've just been and seen the second golden age of travel. It's sad to say, but look, this happens all the time. It's happened since the Great Depression, and this is not a recession that we are in right now. People that think this is a recession are completely wrong. This is a depression. and it will last for years for a lot of people. It's not a case of you look at 1930 and the Great Depression, and Roosevelt started turning back on the economy after a slump by big public service building projects.
Right.
The US, the world doesn't need that. You don't need more highways. You don't need bridges, huge construction projects. It isn't a service economy right now. So it's not a case of just turn it back on tomorrow and cool, back to where we were, because you need that demand for it as well. So it's going to be slow. There's going to be opportunity, but as we show every single time, everyone thought 2008 was the end of the world. Everyone thought 2000 was the end of the world. 1989 was the end of the world. It always is, and we're stupid as humans that we never seem to see it coming, and then we turn around with a big shock and we think, oh, hang on, what's going on there?
Absolutely. You just think you just really are grateful for all the people that are doing anything related to vaccines.
We always do.
Vaccines and all these type of things out there. You pray that, you can get that figured out. Obviously, I think that will help if you have that. But I think you're absolutely right, James. Travel, folks, I think is going to get more expensive because they're going to have less people on the planes. You're going to want more privacy. You're going to want more space. Even movie theaters, I think, are going to change because do you want to be bumped up right next to someone, or even sports events? Do you want to be sitting right next to someone? I mean, they might be blocking out seats in between people, to at least in the beginning, to get things going.
Yeah.
And so I think you're absolutely right. I think you hit it on the head. We are in, folks, a depression. It's going to be long-term. It's not just going to be a V-shaped recovery and we're bouncing back. And right now it's a time to be resourceful, thoughtful, grateful. Think about your friendships and the family and be grounded and try not to lose your mind, because there's a piece of it. It's freaking hard to be sheltered down for 45 days and say, hey, we were supposed to be in Hawaii a few weeks ago. We had to cancel that. We had a few pops this weekend. Me and my wife thought, oh, we'll go to book a Pismo hotel. Then we wake up the next morning. Should we do that? Oh shit, we're going to cancel that. It's just funny. It's just in your head, and because you want to be safe and you don't want to do the wrong things. And we're all experiencing something that we've probably, I was talking to my grandma who's 90, never experienced in our lives as far as the full shutdown scale of it all. Even though they've had different things and things have popped up on us. She's never experienced anything like this, and she's in a nursing home, God rest her right now, because she can't have much interaction. So it's just the mental. My wife's a psychologist, so the mental pain, agony that we're going to feel is as bad as everything else. Is as bad as the deaths.
Even worse. And this is the thing that we're talking about, right? It's a case of people are just looking at simplistically, directly saying, stay at home, save lives. Right. And it isn't a case of that, because there will be millions more indirectly affected by this. You look at suicide last year, 850,000 people committed suicide last year. What do you think that number is going to look like this year? Yeah. India, India, where people don't just live paycheck to paycheck, they live day to damn day over in India. The Indian government yesterday gave $4.8 billion of support for India's poorest. That's less than $4 per person in India. You look at the stimulus checks in the US, which are a complete joke as well. Right. Unfortunately, the governments in the EU and the US have completely dropped the ball on this. And there's a large part of moral condemnation. There's a large part of celebrities sat in their nice homes saying, stay at home. And I disagree with that from the very start. And I said it from the very start. You look at Hong Kong, you look at Taiwan, South Korea, who have not shut down. They've shut that big gatherings, bars, nightclubs, of course, right? It's a virus. To deny the virus is just stupid. Right. And I know that some people do, and that's just stupid. Right. But it's a case of you are having a bigger indirect effect on the people that need it the most. And you see people saying we're all in this together. Total bullshit. We're not all in this together, because it's the weakest in society that are going to be really, really badly affected by this. And the longer it continues, the harder it becomes for them. People at food banks, people that are condemned to poverty for years. Oh yeah. And it's the same thing in terms of, you hear that, you get some schools of thinking that think, again, I said the stock market, it's not about the stock market, it's about the economy. Right. And science and healthcare progress is funded by strong economies. And Germany is the perfect example of that. Germany has a death rate close to the flu because it's got a strong economy and a strong healthcare system. In 1950, the average life expectancy was 48 years old. Now the average global life expectancy is 72. Wow. For places in the US and stuff, it's in their 80s, obviously. But that hasn't come by luck or just by time. That's come by economic funding into science. Science in the US gets $170 billion of funding a year. What do you think that looks like when there's no money to be able to put into funding? The indirect consequences on stuff everything else, cancer, everything you can mention, unfortunately goes up. And that's going to be so difficult to be able to quantify it, which is why I am confident that by the end of May, we're going to have a large element of normality globally. Again, international travel, exactly as you say, the interactions with people. And I've got a good insight to that the last 3 days out in Dubai. You know, if someone's walking down the street without a face mask on, people are like, nope, stay away. You get in an Uber, the Uber driver's like, have you got a mask on? They're trying to put sanitizer over your hands. You know, if you go to a bar, you can't have more than 4 people at a big table. And they're always coming over with hand sanitizer. And there's always this, you know, nervous look of how people look at people. I guess that's probably how we as humans should have looked at people in terms of STIs for the last 20 years. But, you know, everyone, it does feel like a real life case now. People are looking at people saying like, where have you been? Like,
oh, shit.
How dirty are you? Like, where were you last night? Like, can I trust you that you're clean?
Do you wash your hands? Do you wash your hands? Don't be shaking my damn head.
That's what it feels like. And, you know, look, there isn't an option in terms of not having stuff open by the end of May, because otherwise, what I'm saying about depression is far beyond that. It's far beyond. And again, you know, I'm so kind of in a strange way impressed with Sweden, because Sweden can now always be used as the example, because people will look at Asian countries almost slightly differently. They'll say, oh, you know, like Hong Kong, they're used to it, SARS, etc. But Sweden came up under so much media pressure for the last month, saying they're out of their mind, they haven't locked down, restaurants are still open, outdoor bars and beer gardens are still open, and they came under so much pressure and they did not close. Wow. And the numbers are undeniable. I'm sorry, lockdowns do not work. They just don't. And I'm a statistics guy, right? I'm an economics major. I'm a statistician. You can look at the charts and say flatten the curves. I'm calling bullshit on it. To an extent, yes. But again, you look at numbers in New York City, right, where most people are in nursing homes. You have people in close contact. You have a bad healthcare system in Italy, and you have people that spend 23.5 hours a day in lockdown. They go to a grocery store for half an hour. It's a highly contagious virus, which again, I don't want to talk about the virus side because it's not my expertise and everyone thinks they're an expert. But what do you think is going to happen that half an hour that you're outside next to people in a grocery store? It's going to spread. And if you practice sensible social distancing like Sweden have, you cannot deny the numbers. You just can't. And again, they came under media pressure to not change things. So
it's over here in the U.S. I can tell you right now, it's politics. Let's just be real. I mean, we all know what's going on right now. Trump's going for re-election. You got Biden, you know, and the media over here tends to skew towards liberalism, you know, towards more like, you know, against the president right now currently. And he doesn't always do the best things. I'll just be real with you. But the truth is, at the end of the day, we got to get this thing back open. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And we can protect the old people in nursing homes, and we can do social distancing. We can do everything. But people got to get back and working in the service industries, like you said, the restaurants, the bars, and that's the only way we get over this, you know. And then there will be a vaccine at one point, and the fear. But I mean, I think things have changed, maybe for the better. People, shit out there, wash your damn hands. That's all you really got to do. And don't touch your face too much. And, you know, don't get too close to people. If you feel sick, stay home. It's really simple shit. At the end of the day, we've fought viruses before, right? I mean, this is just kind of a more contagious and sensationalized, I would say, because you got social media. Everyone's a damn reporter right now. You got every damn person. Everyone's a blogger and a YouTube expert and a freaking this and a million conspiracy theories. And so no one really knows. But because we're all kind of just like, you know, what do you want to say? Religion, God, universe. It's the kind of same thing. We don't really know. And so it's the same kind of rabbit hole people are going down right now. But the bottom line is, like you said, open up sensibly. That's what we got to do right now.
The issue you have is that no one's going to judge, even though they might. This is the liberalist media that we live in and social media. No one's going to turn around and judge governments for going too far, but they will turn around and judge them for not doing enough. And that's what governments were scared of. That's why we went into full lockdown, because, you know, you can deal with that. And again, Sweden just turned around and said, look, you know, we think we know the numbers. We think we can look at the curve. And we think that everything we've seen is the biggest doomsday situation. But what it allows is the most vulnerable in society, like the elderly, people in nursing homes, people with weaker immune systems or underlying conditions, to get more care and attention. You know, to be able to get groceries delivered to them rather than being cut off. And again, we're going to look at this in 6 months and I think really see the damage that we've created. But on the positive side of it, that's why it's been so much damage that end of May, I'm pretty confident that a large swathe of the economy will be open because it has to be.
Yeah. We got to get back and working, man. Everyone loves work. I mean, let's just be real. We can't be stuck at home, man. I mean, there's something to work. That
maybe we'll look at things differently in everything. Maybe we'll look at and think, every time people are like, I'm staying at home saving lives, which is, again, undeniable on the surface. On the surface, yeah. But the indirect effects aren't being looked at. But then are people going to now get in their cars and think, holy shit, I'm putting someone's life at danger by getting behind the wheel of my car, which is the case. 3,500 people die in road accidents every day in the US alone, I think. And there's so many crazy numbers out. And the one that really grates on me the most is 25,000 people starving to death every day around the world, my God, which is so easily preventable. Will people care about that afterwards? And it's something that, I went to Yemen a year ago with UNICEF and no one cared. Some people cared. I take it back. Some people really cared and some people donated, but no one really knew what was going on in Yemen, which is why I went there in the first place. The press didn't report on it. It's like, that's Yemen. They've been in civil war for the last 100 years on and off, and Yemen's screwed, so whatever. But it's a case of maybe people will look at things, hopefully, in a much more positive light. And if we as humans are willing to rip up the blueprint and rip up what is a fact, the next generation or this current generation, a lot of their hopes and dreams, so to speak, have just been torn up. Because what's happened to be able to fund this, when people turn around and say, the government can bail people out, government can't just pull money out of their arse. What it is it's the equivalent of them going and smashing your children's piggy bank, taking their money for their college fund, and then saying it's your problem now. Totally. Which is what it is, because to borrow for all of these stimulus packages is exactly that. And the opportunities are not, for some people, are really going to be affected. So if we're willing to do that, then hopefully we're willing to turn around and actually say, look, there's a lot of other problems around the world, and let's try and sort some of them, because so many of them are preventable. Right. Yeah, it's so sad when you hear about food and water. I always say, whenever you feel, folks, that you are like, too much on your plate or whatever going on in your life, because we all get these stresses of life, business, friendships, etc. Just remember, there's someone out there that cannot flush a toilet and cannot get a glass of fresh water and food when they want, like we can out here. Like, fill up water. Okay, I'm going to go get some food. We complain right now because we don't get grocery. We can't go to the restaurant. But truthfully, there's someone that has to walk miles to get water. And so just remember these things, folks. I think that is some of the best things that have come out of this, James, is that there's been a lot of gratitude, connection. I think people feel a sense of purpose for each other more than ever. And there's just a lot of habits that were maybe bad habits that, are going to stop, like maybe even shaking hands was a bad habit because it's spreading the flu and spreading this and that, and being near too many close people, maybe that just helps people stay a little healthier, and so at the end of the day, obviously we talked about wash your hands, folks, make sure you're not touching your mouth and not spreading. If you're sick, at the end of the day, if you are sick, you stay home. But the true thing about this one is, it's interesting, is that a lot of people aren't sick. And so they just don't feel bad and they're just going out, supposedly. And so bottom line is, I do think at the end of this, maybe it's 5 years from today, there's a ton more positivity that happens. I mean, our generations have been humbled. Multiple generations have been humbled. My parents, my grandparents, my child, she doesn't, thank God, doesn't know what's really going on. My wife's family. I mean, just generations of people, that kids that are growing up right now that are like, I can't go to school. I can't go to the playground. I can't go here. My friends are doing Zoom parties, and we're having, we had my birthday party for my wife yesterday, and people would just drove by in a parade. The point is, like, there's going to be a piece that, like, people are going to be like real grateful to be back together again. Exactly. Like, I mean, again, you look at it in terms of after the Second World War, right? The 50s were kind of almost, to some historians, a little bit lost as a generation. But then you look at the 60s, right? And the 60s. Swinging 60s and everything that brought with it, which was a great time. It was a time where people were just having a good time and appreciating life. Holy hell, I wish I was in the 60s. Right. It seemed like a great time. Well, I think this is going to be it, man. I really do think that. I mean, we got a lot of advantages on our hands, and so
the biggest thing you want to hope and pray is that we all can just stay positive, keep your mind right, stay healthy, stay active if you can. Do things that you love to challenge yourself in new ways. And right now, like you've done, your business still could prosper. Your business might have to pivot. It might have to change. It might have to evolve. But stay in business, folks. Stay alive. That's the most important things right now. And then when we get through this, we're all going to love each other. But right now, my man, I know we got time, so we got to take you into our top 10. Are you ready?
All right, let's do it.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Yeah. Netflix or YouTube?
Oh, do you know what? Neither. I can't even say either. I don't even watch anything.
You don't
never
watch
anything.
Really?
I never have time. I have not watched Netflix once during lockdown.
That's awesome, dude. Hey, that's the way I try to live too,
so
man. Just
sorry.
Stay busy, baby. Stay busy. Work on yourself. That's the most.
As soon as I start into one of these, so I find that like box sets. So I've watched probably 2 box sets in my life, and I feel like if you look back 15 years ago, you could have done them in 2 episodes, whereas now they're like 10 to 15 because they move so slowly and they're done really well.
Right.
But you have to focus on them, and I can't because I'm always doing work or
Too much.
So I might have something on in the background, but I can't focus on them. So yeah, probably neither.
That's amazing, dude. And I think that's part of your success, man, is that you stay focused on your goals. Instagram or Facebook? I think I know what this one.
Yeah, Instagram. All the parents got left on Facebook.
Instagram, baby. Chicken or steak if you're going to sit down for a lovely meal?
Oh, that's difficult. I'd probably eat more chicken, but if I'm going for a meal, it'll be a steak.
Cheat meal, baby. You got to get that cheat meal. Do you have a laptop or a smartphone when you're working? You're on the go, possibly. What do you prefer?
Mostly a smartphone. My CTO calls me a caveman with technology, even though our company is technically a tech company.
Right.
But he calls me a caveman, and he forced me a few years ago to get a laptop because I was like, I can run this company off a phone, no problem. But definitely a phone still.
That's amazing. It's amazing how much you can get done on a phone right now.
I know, right?
It's freaking amazing when you think you're running a huge business that with customers all over, and you can do a lot of the tasks on your phone. I mean, that if you told someone that in the 60s, they would be like, yeah, right, dude. Yeah,
if I reply to someone like within 2 hours now, because people know I'm always on my phone, they think I'm dead.
True. That's the only downside of the phone. That's the only damn downside.
Where are you? I know you can see
I know you talk to this thing every damn second. Spotify or Pandora? Do you listen to music?
Neither
music. Oh my God, this dude is on.
No, I do. No. I do.
Okay, you listen to music.
It's all downloaded on Apple Music.
Yes, got you.
I've never used Pandora or Spotify.
Got you. So Apple Music, and they've got a great platform, man. They've done a great job. Movies or video games?
Movies.
Nice. And reading books or listening to books?
Oh, definitely reading books.
Yeah, there's nothing like getting that physical book, huh? Stocks or real estate? If you're talking about investing, stocks.
It's what I know. Real estate, it's what I know, but if you're setting out right now, real estate is probably not a bad place to be. And, that comes onto the fact at the moment, I've had a ton of people ask me, what do you think about real estate in this? This isn't 2008. It's not a real estate crisis. In 2008, it was people were over leveraged. The banks didn't have liquidity. It was a banking and a housing crisis in 2008. The ownership of houses now is very different. It's people that can afford them. Right. It's people that don't need to sit there and panic sell for 25% below what the bid was before the coronavirus crisis. So it's a pretty, I guess, comfortable place to be, real estate. But as far as I'm concerned, comfortable is really boring, and I don't really like boring. I prefer going and trading like high vol oil stocks right now.
Yeah,
much more fun.
It's fun, man. It's fun. There's something like it. There's nothing like it. And there's honestly nothing like going after and investing in a company that you love. I would say that's my number one tip to people. If you're a long-term investor, is look at your bank statement and whatever you are paying for, if you're buying Apple, if you're doing this, buy the damn stock. I mean, it's really not hard. It's like the winning strategy because you believe in it. And then I always say the second you stop buying that company is when you should sell the stock and you should buy whatever the next stock is. It's kind of a simple thing. I mean, if you're buying,
it's not a bad way.
Just for the simple common day person, right? I mean,
exactly. Yeah, if you're throwing like some money around into it, like, and you don't want to overcomplicate it, then that's definitely. I've heard some people take that approach, and it doesn't really go wrong, especially if it's long term.
Yeah, it's long term, and it's like a Warren Buffett strategy. You're just investing in things you know or buy and love, and
exactly, because you look at these guys that run most of these kind of like 401k pension funds and stuff, and I worked with a lot of them. I know a lot of them. They don't know anything.
Yeah.
They really don't. If you think a lot of traders in banks know what they're doing, they're really pretty clueless. A lot of people, you know, as was I at lots of points. So, you know, if you back yourself, you can probably do as good a job.
Right. And
I'm not telling people to liquidate their 401ks and go do it yourself. I'm not saying that.
Don't do that, folks. Don't do that.
I would do that, but don't do what I do.
Because my man he understands it. You have to understand, when you understand it, it's just a different thing. You know, it's just like anything. And though my dad,
if I understand it 4 days out of 5, I'm doing an all right job.
Exactly. My dad always said the market will inflict the most pain on the most people. So it's one of those things I think none of us really fully understand, because it's one of those things that right now the market should be down, it's up, and then all of a sudden in 6 months it should be up more because we're open, and then we'll be down a ton. You just never know.
Yeah, but that's 76% of retail investors lose money because they let their emotions take fold. And
absolutely.
I remember when I had interns and graduates working with me who thought they were massive smart because technicals, and thought that they made a little bit of money each day on this, on their portfolio when they came in. And I was like, I want them to lose a lot of money, because that's as big an emotion as you're going to deal with. Right. Even now, if I kind of back what I do and I lose money on stuff, I'm like, just stay calm. And if it's lower and I really back it, I'll just buy more lower. And lots of people will turn it around the other way, especially kind of retail investors, and think, oh my God, I've lost like 15%. Like, I need to get out. It's going to zero. Most of the time, it's not going to zero. Most of the time, you can just look at it and say, hey, that's a better chance for me to buy more. But the emotions, we've all heard the fear and greed emotions. They get in the way of what most people do.
Oh, yeah. And I think this is a testing time for people's emotions, financially and also just mentally, getting through these weird things we haven't had experience before. You can't go anywhere, T-Huff. You can't go to Hawaii. You can't go to Pismo. It's like, God damn it, please. I need to get out of this house, So it's just funny. It's just funny. Oh, yeah. Get me out of here. We went on a hike a few days ago. Just like, we need to get the hell out of here. And we started to still stay outside, but we're not supposed to be traveling. So oceans or lakes, if you were to go on your next trip, where would you choose, an ocean or a beautiful lake?
Last week I was meant to be in Bora Bora.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
Ocean. Yeah, I think that was my 22nd canceled flight so far.
Unbelievable. I know. I was imagine you probably have canceled a lot, I was thinking.
Yeah, quite a few, but it's kind of getting to the point now where it looks like, next week I'll probably actually be heading to Africa, which is a strange one, but
wow,
things have got to work. I've got to go for work. So yeah, that should be interesting.
That's fascinating.
Stop through Ethiopia.
That's fascinating, bro. You have a crazy, awesome life. And I think anyone that's listening to this, you got to see the passion in this man's soul, because at the end of the day, that's what it takes.
Buddy.
That's what it takes, man. That's really, truly what it takes. Do you think you'll ever retire? Do you think you'll ever stop the travel?
Never. I don't understand that concept when people work their asses off to go and retire, and then what, you're old. It's never been about money for me. It's never been about the point of, if I'm able to kind of put things on the table, then that's enough. And obviously money's hugely important for that. And it gives you a means to be able to do what you want to do. But, I don't really know necessarily. I mean, I have some ideas what I want to do, but I want to make a positive change and a really positive impact for a lot of different things in the world. Right. And, it's a case of, I'm always thinking bigger. And, I get bored, because actually work for me is a hobby now, because I love what I'm doing. I genuinely do.
Yes. So
does that mean when I'm 70 years old that my hobby is going to be making puzzles? I really hope not. Otherwise something's gone wrong along the way for me. My hobby might be, even volunteering, doing something that matters, or putting some money back into something that matters. But there's a ton of things that we all find important that we have a hobby for. And, I don't know, say you like planes and you want to, and everyone's like, hey, I'd love to have got my pilot license when I was young. You could be old and be down at the airport volunteering, cleaning planes. I don't know, whatever it is, but just getting out, because the moment you sit and do nothing, I think when you're old is the moment that you get old.
Yep. That's the moment you die, I think. The moment your soul has, it's lost its purpose, And I think
completely.
That's why I say right now, and I would tell anyone, you are living a portion of your retirement, because you're living your dream right now. You're traveling the world. You've built the business you want. You're surviving a pandemic, my man. We're surviving a pandemic. We're telling this story today, and we have something to come out on the other side. But the point is, you've lived that. And so I think that's the big piece, folks, for today. live your dream. And that is what a successful life is, a life full of learning, a life full of experiences, a life full of travel and food and fun and friendship. But truthfully, you are in control of that. So don't just sit there and binge, your next show and just let your mind just go to waste. Take time. Understand you are in control of this thing. Right now is the best time to do these things. Do you have a typical routine that you like to do when you get your day started? Is there something you do to get yourself ready for the day?
Go through a heap of absolute crap that's come through my phone every morning. Catch up on that because we have people from Australia to Los Angeles,
all different times.
It never really stops. And usually catch up on that. And I'm sure you probably hear everyone, CEOs be like, I spring up and I go to the gym and I kind of
meditation.
Go for a run. Yeah, I honestly, I usually get up at 6 a.m. every day, but I spend the first hour probably lying in bed.
Yeah.
Going through emails. I've dropped my phone screen on my face way too many times. So, I probably kind of go through the first bit of my day, then wake up, I kind of get excited. I really do. I look through because, if I have 100 emails and 2 of them are super interesting, there's always something interesting in there. And I'm like, wow, this is exciting, something new. And I do that. Then, I get out. I don't have any breakfast normally. I have a couple of coffees. I probably normally eat once a day, and that's it. I switch up my location. I'm a little bit odd with that. So I might go, say I'm in New York and I might have a meeting in the morning at 8 a.m. I might go to a meeting. I might sit in a Starbucks for a couple of hours. I get bored of that Starbucks and go and move to a Starbucks two blocks down. I just sit there and I will get lost for hours in my phone or my laptop, just, making calls and doing work and speaking to people in the team nonstop. It doesn't really ever end.
Right.
So even if I chill out and there's, the news on, and quite frankly, I try and avoid watching any news right now because it's mostly bullshit. But it's a case of there's always something kind of for me to do. And I find it exciting. So, I wouldn't really say I have a routine. I just kind of get going when I do. And sometimes I might start at 4 a.m. It depends. If I wake up and something interesting has come in my phone, I'm like, this is so exciting. I'm like a child.
Right.
So
that's a thrilling part about being a business owner is that it is a thrill. And I think if you look at it that way, like every email, we know we're going to fight the fires, folks. We know we're going to fight, like right now in the advertising marketing business, cancellation, pause campaigns, etc. The businesses are closed. Why would they be advertising? Let's just be real. My business gets hit in this time. But there's the flip side. There's the interesting email that comes in. Hey, we're this agency and we need social media help because right now these times, and it's just like, that's fascinating to me in my business. In your world, I'm sure it's something in your business. And those are the nuggets, folks, to be inspired by each day. Honestly, every day I wake up and I put what day we've been quarantined on the calendar. I look at myself and I say, you know what? This is no big deal. I can get through this. This is just like a normal day. And I try to live as much of my normal life. I do the shows. I do my work. I live my dad. I'm a dad, a pop entrepreneur. My daughter's going to be waking up soon. We're going to go on a family walk. So I just try to live that normalcy. And then at the end of the day, stay inspired, stay happy, stay successful because it's right here, right? I mean, I think the biggest thing about you, James, is that no matter where you are, you can be in Africa next week or Ethiopia or wherever, you're going to be the same James because it's in your head. And that's the most important thing. And you're not living something that you don't want to live. You're not trying to be someone you're trying to be, So I think that's the big thing about life.
Exactly. I've been in enough crappy situations in my life that even when I wanted to found this business, I was like, look, what if I give myself a year to live? And so I might take a kind of blasé approach to if I die tomorrow, and I'm happy with that. Well, I'm not happy with it. Ideally, I don't want to, but if I do, I do. I've been kidnapped in Iraq before. Cool.
Wow.
It's so I kind of take a pretty relaxed view in terms of, look, every day genuinely is a gift because sure, I've had a hood over my head and a gun clipped against my head every damn morning for a week.
Oh my God.
And I'm still here. So I managed to make it through from that. And it's a case of, look, that wasn't my choice. I could have easily gone then. And there's been a couple of other pretty bad situations. Didn't even mention them in my book, actually. I didn't really talk about them until a couple of years ago. But look, it's, what are you going to do, right? Because it's the same thing as you could go get in your car tomorrow and through no fault of your own, someone could go and totally write you off and that's it. So you might, what hand are you going to get? You might get 70, you might get 90, you might get 40. Right. Go do it, go enjoy it. And look, if I had more time on my hands right now, the one thing I'd really be doing would be learning a language because I can speak a bit of French, I can speak a bit of Spanish, but that must be so rewarding to be able to do.
Right.
And if I wasn't swamped with work, that's something where, and so many people say that. Something like, I'd love to learn this language, but I never have time. We always say we never have time. So yeah, sure, watch your Netflix, do your thing in lockdown, etc. But I'm telling you as well, especially because I'm a bit ahead of the curve right here in Dubai. Wow, like out of nowhere, 3 days ago, mall,
Wow.
all the malls opened.
Wow.
So many bars opened, restaurants opened.
That's amazing.
There's still a 10 p.m. curfew, so I can't actually. Well, I could go out for the next 12 minutes right now.
Right.
But 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. is the curfew. But apart from that, I can go and do what I want tomorrow. I can go ride a quad bike in the desert. I can then finish that up with a drink on the beach and go and meet some buddies for a meeting, and then have dinner somewhere. And out of nowhere, it's a weird feeling. It's weird to explain because I was getting a lot done, in lockdown.
Right.
And when it ends, it's going to feel overwhelming in some ways to people. And some people were probably almost, there was a little part of me that thought this. It's like, oh, that's sad.
Right. True.
To find the words to comprehend that. But what was my week last week, which is everyone's time right now, is your time is entirely your own time.
Right.
Like entirely.
Right.
And what I don't have now is I have annoying mates that I like, but I have buddies that are like, hey, you want to come and grab a drink or come out for dinner? And I'm like, yeah, cool, of course I do. And then I have meetings now non-stop, and it's super weird because it's Ramadan here as well.
Right.
So actually things come to life when the sun goes down.
Gotcha.
Because Muslims are not obviously drinking or eating throughout the whole day. So I get random calls at 10 p.m. being like, hey, can you meet for a coffee at midnight? And I'm like, oh, come on. So I've gone from a complete, my time was my time.
Right.
It's
now you're being bombarded by all these temptations. You're like, oh, should I go do this? Should I go do this? It's like a little temptation island over there in a way. I can see that.
Exciting. Yeah, exactly. It's exciting, and it can, I'm sure some people are going to find it overwhelming, but I'm strongly of the opinion, particularly in Europe, even some football leagues in Europe are starting in Germany, the Bundesliga on May 9th.
That's amazing.
There's talks about sporting events coming back in 5-6 weeks, which isn't a long time when you think about it. And
right.
And I'm pretty sure that lockdowns will start easing in the next couple of weeks almost everywhere, because as I said, they have to. So you don't have long. Imagine you've just gone on a 2-week holiday. Get the shit you need to get done in the next
right now, man.
You don't have long to learn a language. If you sat there thinking, oh, I'm going to start all these new cooking courses, cool, do it. But honestly, the end is approaching. Not the end fully, but even if you just have bars and restaurants open and you're able to go outside and see your family, it's going to feel like everything you need right now.
Absolutely. That's going to feel like a miracle. I mean, that's going to feel like, thank God. Oh my God. We can go sit down and have a dinner and just embrace our families and friends as much as possible. A couple last questions for you, my man. I really appreciate your time today. I love your energy, brother. Is if you could sit down with a dinner with anyone in the world and they're coming out to you in Dubai tonight or whenever, who would you want to sit down with? Who would you want to talk to, James?
Just one person? Oh, actually, easy. My mom, it's her birthday today.
Nice. Hey, there we go. Hey, that's the way to do it right there. You know what I mean? The mothers that gave us life.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The power of a female is unbelievable, James. It's unbelievable.
I think that some people kind of have an answer for that of, some kind of celebrities and stuff. And I'm sure you have as well. I've met a couple of people and some people are great and super interesting, but others, you have this idea of how they might be. And I just kind of, it still doesn't kind of beat sitting with family or friends and stuff like that. So,
got it.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. I love it. So dinner with mom and that steak dinner with mom. And then can you give our listeners at this point one last real talk thought, something you can give to them and leave them thinking, damn, my man James is bringing the heat.
Oh, one thought. You know what? I'm going to go back to what we said. Just give yourself 1 year. Imagine you've got a year. Get it all done. Do what you want to do, because at the end of the day, who cares about taking a risk? Everyone thinks, what do people think about me? What if I post this particular picture on Instagram? What do people think? Quite frankly, who gives a shit? And it comes back to what we all think at school, right? And people say, at school, they're like, oh, you won't worry about it. And you'll look back and think it's the best years of your life. And, this douchebag here or whatever, or, this girl that didn't like you, you'll get over it. And you think, you're like 14, 15 and, and you lose this girl and you think it's the worst thing. No, honestly, that's the only girl I'm ever going to love. Or, you know, you think I got so embarrassed in that moment or that class, and who cares? You know, all of us, most of us can look back and laugh at that. And I'm sure that there's some traumatic moments, but at the end of the day, you know, we all drive our own paths and create our own paths. And again, life is short and anything can change that. And this is the biggest example. So whatever you want to do, just get out there and do it.
I love that. I love that, folks. Get out there and do it. And where's the best place for people to find you online? Tell us. I'm sure it's going to be the IG.
Yeah, it's just the Instagram, just at James Asquith. I don't do kind of too many other stuff. I wish I had time for it, but yeah, I'm just on there, just having a bit of a laugh most of the time.
You guys got to check out his. We're gonna definitely put the links in the show notes because you guys got to check out his Instagram. He's got a fascinating Instagram. Hey, brother James. Hey, I want to just say one thing. Your business is gonna grow. You are continually growing. I love your energy. You got an insane energy about you.
Likewise.
And I know you're never going to stop working. You're always going to keep boom, 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 boom. We're going to get this together. Folks, you've been hanging out with my man, James Asquith and Travis Too Tall and Huff. We want to thank you again so much for your time today. And let's keep being real. Right now, more than ever, folks, we need to work on our reputation for our businesses and get those reviews, get those positive reviews, get those positive recommendations on both on your social, but also to market on your website. And that is why you want to check out my business, folks, our software, realtimereputation.us. That's realtimereputation.us. Please check it out. It is literally the best thing that's ever happened to many of our campaigns, as that reviews bring together your social and digital campaigns. And the more positive reviews, as people are making those positive, decisions, they're looking at your, at your reviews. And so the more you can get, the better. And make it easy and automated with realtimereputation.us. Check us out. What's another epic episode? And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform, and also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it, and thank you so much for listening today.